Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, or commonly known as Jackie Kennedy, wife of John F. Kennedy. Wait, let's scratch that. Let's keep him out of the story. It's her story after all. Let's press the restart button and let's do it again. Jackie Bouvier was born in 1929 to a Wall Street stockbroker and a socialite in Southampton, New York. From an early part in her life, her father had served to be an extremely influential man. Biographer Tina Falhardy attributes her father's praise to fueling Jackie's confidence in herself, as well as her younger sister Lee, who had stated that she would have not been the independent and individual person that she had grown up to be if it had not been for the relationship she had with her father. As Jackie grew older, she was a person who loved the humanities more than anything. She enrolled at Vassar College, a geographically isolated campus. She didn't like it very much and would travel back and forth to New York on the weekends. She would later transfer to George Washington University, where she would go on and earn her degree. Jackie earned herself a 12-month junior editorship with Vogue. She would spend 6 months in the New York office and then another 6 in Paris. Before she would begin her editorship, she and her younger sister would take a trip to Europe. Upon coming back, Jackie would quit on the first day of her job. She would then take a job as a part-time receptionist at Washington Times-Herald. Upon requesting her boss for more challenging work, she would be the inquiring camera girl who would ask strangers on the street certain questions and capture their image to be presented in the newspaper. During Queen Elizabeth's II coronation, she was assigned the entire case and would take a year off before she accepted a marriage proposal. In the years following, she would go on to have 2 children and be pregnant with a third during the 1960s election. She would not let this get in her way and would personally set up a weekly news column answering to correspondence and media interviews. Jackie loved designer clothing, given her wealthy background, but refrained from ever mentioning it during interviews, constantly emphasizing her contributions to the campaign. When she became First Lady, she immediately hired a press secretary, something that had never been done by a prior First Lady in office. She wanted her interactions with the media to be professional and limit the extent to which her children would be photographed. Her young age helped raise her ratings as she brought forth the cool factor. Jackie's first big project was the restoration of the White House. She felt the rooms inside were dismayed and lacked historical context. Over the years, previous presidents had taken historical paintings and relics. She would initiate a congressional bill establishing that White House furnishings would be the property of the Smithsonian Institution, rather than available to departing ex-presidents to claim as their own. In addition to the bill, she founded the White House Historical Association, the Committee for Preservation of the White House, the position of a permanent curator of the White House Endowment Trust, and the White House Acquisition Trust. Forwarding the timeline a little bit, Jackie would take an instrumental role in planning the funeral of the president. She would very much model it like the funeral that Abraham Lincoln had had. She would want to take a step back from the media and properly mourn. Jackie would later remarry a longtime childhood friend who was able to provide security to her and her children. After he died, she would come back to New York City and prove to be a successful editor in multiple newspapers across the country. So that primarily sums up the life of Jackie. Let's talk about how the media portrayed her back then. It would always start off with what she was wearing. Not why she was there or what she was going to do. It was always about what she was wearing. Demeaning. The headlines would always be about how she's a trendsetter and a fashionista. But these were 2 things she didn't aspire to be. She wanted to make change, but that was entirely masked. Jackie Kennedy nowadays is regarded as one of the most influential people of the 20th century. Her constant contributions to the White House, the advancement of the role of the First Lady due to her presence, as well as being a fashion trendsetter, made her an icon for both men and women growing up in the 20th century. Oh, and one last bit of information. Yeah, she was married to John F. Kennedy. She was his wife. But that's not all she was.